Alrighty, folks, it is January 14th. And unfortunately, most of you have already given up on your 2025 goals. Better luck next year. 2026 will be here in about 50 weeks. Omar, what's going on in your world? I know you haven't given up on your goals yet.
No, not at all. What's up, Michael? Appreciate you having me on, and yeah, let's rock and roll. No, goals are still there. I mean, they're there, and we're executing as much as we can every single day. I mean, because obviously, if you're starting to think about what your 12-month goal is going to look like from right now, it's kind of far away, right? So if we focus on all the small goals throughout the day, have a great day, have a great week, have a great month, have a great quarter. That's more effective than trying to shoot for, $3 million or $4 million, whatever your number is going to be at the end of the year. How about let's have a really great productive week, and
Yeah,
then compound it over time.
one of the things that I've heard Alex Hormozy put together really, really well, and something I did, I don't know, inadvertently back when I ran sales teams is I never talked about the $3 million goal, to use your quote. I talked about what are the inputs? What are the hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly things that we could do, we could control? And then, oh, by the way, what are the conversions? Like we convert 10% of the phone calls into an appointment. We convert appointments at a rate of 50-50 into second calls, and all of those things. A lot of people have already given up on their 2025 goals because they only said $3 million. Unless you break it down into really bite-sized chunks, and I call them inputs, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to give up like everybody else, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's true because if you focus on what you're inputting into your business, inputting on executing revenue-producing activities, something that's going to move the needle forward on a consistent basis, keep your head down. And then when you pick your head back up, 6 months down the way, you're like, oh, we made $1.5 million. Shit, we're halfway there.
Yeah.
But if we're focusing on the $3
million, April 1st. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so, I get that part of it. And I understand that, completely. But it's just something that, and I saw something that by January 10th, most people stop their New Year's resolution.
Yeah, it's the give up date. It's January 10th is National Give Up Date. Isn't that shocking?
Yeah. At 10 days into the new year, you're going to
give up already?
You can't even create a habit at all.
No, in fact, the only habit you create is one of quitting. That's the habit you create, quitting. No, that's the one that you quit. No. So,
that's go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say you had some questions about economics. Why don't you rattle those off? Let me know what you're thinking.
I do. I want to know what your take on inflation. Inflation just came out, obviously, the percentage, and it was kind of shocking.
Yeah, so there's really 3 inflation numbers to catch everybody up on. There's a PPI, which again you could think of as wholesale inflation. That came out this morning. We'll talk about it. CPI, Consumer Price Expectations, comes out tomorrow. So we don't have it yet, but we know what we're expecting. And then at the end of the month, there will be PCE, which we'll talk about all 3. So this morning, it depends on who you listen to. PPI was either really good or really bad. So let me break it down and tell you what actually happened. I actually have the numbers, so I don't even have to go from memories. So PPI headline last month, Omar, was 3%. These are year-on-year numbers.
Yeah.
It was expected to go all the way up to 3.5. So a huge jump. It came in at actually 3.3. So some people are celebrating that it came in lower than expected, missing the entire point that it went from 3 to 3.3. The trend of inflation is higher. Okay, so that's inflation 1. Inflation 2 tomorrow. CPI. Again, we don't know what the number is, but here's the history. It was as low as 2.4. Then it went to 2.6. The last reading was 2.7. What do we call that, Omar? We call that a trend. Oh, by the way, expectations are going from 2.7 to 2.9. Hello, trend is accelerating. So inflation is still a problem. Well, it means higher for longer. It means that the next interest rate move might be up, not down, like Bank of America just said.
Imagine.
Can you imagine that? So the first thing I think it means is no rate cuts for the first 6 months.
Right.
But I would have to think long and hard about what the next rate move is. Like, would I take up or down? I think most people out there are just believing this, the hopium that we've got 1, 2, or 3 more cuts coming this year and early. I don't see it, Omar. And again, I'm lucky because I called it 3 months ago that no cuts were coming. So I feel like a genius right now. But I'm not sure I'm quite where Bank of America is, where the base case is up, but it's a non-zero chance that the next move is up, not down. So that's what it means. If inflation's a problem, Omar, they're done cutting,
dude. And if they're not going to cut, that's going to stall the market.
Well, again, what did I tell you about 2025? I've told you repeatedly.
Transaction count's going to be so low.
It's going to be sub 4 million. It's going to be the worst of the 4 years. But again, to give you a little bit of hope, you're only 50 weeks away from 2026, which will get better. Right? You've got to survive through 25. You got to be very selective what you buy. You've got to produce the best product so you get the FHA buyers that are hungry. Got to stay below the median. This year, 2025, there will still be plenty of winners, which I hope you're one of them. But there are also going to be a bunch of people that just flat out give up because they didn't change their business model.
Right. And maybe they didn't, not that they gave up. Maybe they just overcommitted.
They didn't learn the lesson, Omar. How many times have we been talking about this? We've been talking about this getting harder and harder for 2 years. You changed your business model. You went from you and Jason Pritchard, you both went from primarily flipping to, more wholesaling. So your cost of, your velocity of money was faster. Genius.
Right.
Take what the market gives you. Don't fight it. If you're this is the problem with real estate investors, especially the hacks. They figure out one thing and they don't realize that the one thing they're working on has a season. And when that season is over, that one thing that is your secret weapon that you do better than anybody else will become unvaluable for the next 10 to 15 years until your season comes around again. And if you're not smart enough to dump the shovel and go get a pickaxe, that's on you. I don't feel bad for you. We've been screaming from the hills the world's different for years now. So I don't feel bad for him.
Yeah, you know what, though, too? You got a point, and not always. It's like, but because of the habit that you've created and the avenue of like which you've made your money at or with flipping, as an example, let's just take that scenario. We made a lot of money flipping, right? But then now we're changing our tune to let's wholesale more. Let's flip, the deals that are really simple, that are under the median home price.
Let's say no. Let's say no to a lot of. The problem with this is
saying no.
I believe that saying no, right? There was a time when you had a motivated seller in front of you and they were motivated. You just had to close it because you knew you'd make money. Right. Now there could be lots of motivated sellers in front of you that are truly motivated, but they can't get to the price where you need to be. So it doesn't matter. There's no meeting of the minds, right? There could be a homeowner of a $1.1 million house who's willing to let it go for $950. Right.
Too thin.
It's too thin. Right. Before it was $150K and like, shoot, I could lock it up and I'll wholesale it, make $25K, blah. No, it's not that market. There's not many 1.1 buyers out there in a $400K median home at, average where you are. It's just the market changed and a lot of people didn't increase their skill set. They didn't invest in themselves.
As a matter of fact, today I talked to a buddy of mine, and we're doing a new, we're paying for new training for the guys and myself to stay in it, and it's an investment, it's a cost.
Yeah.
But what's the cost if you don't do it?
No, that's again, I want people to really feel this. 2025 will be hard, especially if you're in the business, will be hard. I, again, think it will be the hardest year yet. That doesn't make me feel good to say. But if you do the work, you appreciate it, you think about months of life like Brian Lebo talks about, you get
Yeah.
through it, you're going to feast in 2026. That's what's coming.
Months of life.
That's the key, right? Take your spend, take your savings, and go, how many months can I survive? Brian Lebo did that in the Great Recession, which saved his business. He right-sized it. He got rid of all of these liabilities, and he survived that. And then he crushed for years after that. And people don't know who Brian Lebo is. Look him up. Lebo Group. He's my agent in Vegas. He helped Olivia and I buy the home that I'm talking to you from. So
that's awesome.
Great guy. Love that guy.
That's cool. Yeah, man. So Michael, this is gonna be a good freaking quarter, man. Like
it is. I like that attitude. I like it.
This is gonna be a great quarter because there's two ways to skin that cat. I mean, you could sit back and feel like, damn, this is gonna mess me up, or you can go create more connections, more relationships.
Exactly.
Buy deeper, get closer to people, so you're able to get a little bit more of a reduction.
Yeah, this is Omar year 1, year 2. If you focus on the connections, buying deeper, increasing your skill set. Again, dude, I cannot, whatever your best year is to date, which was probably 21 or 22, 26 could crush that.
It's prepping to get there.
Yes, you got to survive. You got to survive to thrive. But yeah, it's all about laying the groundwork, making more connections, getting more access to private capital, buying better, lining up this, lining up that. 2026 could be really amazing for you because competition's going away. That's what people don't understand.
2026 could be the that $5 to $6 million year.
Whatever your best year is, double it. It really could be 2026.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, it'd be 6. Yeah, it'd be close to 6 mil.
That's what's coming.
Gross wise, but yeah.
Yeah. Of course. But that's what's coming. And again, transactions go up 10, 15, 20% off of the very low 25. But again, you're going to have 30% less competition. And the best of the best are going to get the lion's share of that. And you can't even fathom how good I think 2026 will be for you yet, because you got a lot of work to do and to get there.
Yeah, well, I'm not worried about 2026 right now. I'm worried about now.
Yeah, exactly.
And making sure that every month is profitable and setting up the procedures, the processes, and our systems and stuff, and our foundation. Yeah. And I think we're going to be pretty solid. And I'll be discussing it with you every Tuesday.
There you go. I love that. And if somebody wanted to reach out, follow you, what are we doing?
Guys, follow me on IG at Invest with Omar, and then you can follow along with this crazy ass cat house I have that is absolutely insane. 100 cats at this house, and
I can already smell it through the computer.
Oh, dude, it's brutal. But
I bought a cat house once. Yeah, I bought a cat house once. I usually remember the street names. I don't remember. I think this one was on Iowa, and it was so bad, Omar. Not only do we have to get a carpet and pads, we had to remove the plywood underneath all of that and put in brand new subfloor.
Subfloor.
Yeah, the subfloor was gone. And we had to spray the beams, right? The whatever those are, 2x8s or whatever. We had to spray.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. You could smell it from a parked car outside.
Yep,
it was that bad.
It was so brutal. And right now these cats lived in this thing, Michael, for at least 3 years with 100 cats in there. So it was piles and piles of cat food. Stuff. But we ripped. It's all down to the studs. Even the ceiling, we ripped all of. I mean, they were in the attic. They were inside of. It was probably the worst flip ever, and I've been documenting it.
Oh,
which
that's
is cool.
Awesome.
But I'm getting a lot of hate for people that are loving cats. It's like, guys, these are feral cats. They're not.
I don't mind cats, but 100 of them, that's a problem. They're not supposed to be in one house. It's crazy.
No, man, no, not at all.
Well, go check it out, folks.
There,
On IG, Invest with Omar. A lot of fun. Thanks, buddy.